Okay. We should be online. This Developer Direct should be starting in, according to the timer here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, according to the timer here, it's starting in like 10 seconds. So we're about to broadcast this. I don't know what the surprise game is going to be. I'm going to guess that it's going to be Halo. All right. Not Halo, sorry, Forza.
Friendly design that encourages.
All right, let's go. I hope it's a good show. Probably should have posted this a little bit earlier so you guys could have joined the stream, but whatever, it's up now. So let's just enjoy this Xbox Developer Direct. Let me know in the comment section what you think the surprise game is. As I was saying earlier, I think it's going to be Forza Horizon 6, if I had to guess, but I really don't have any type of idea of what it's going to be. But apparently it's supposed to be really big, so let's see. And I will say that Xbox really did hype up this event, even had Aaron Greenberg saying, you know, don't tune in late, because apparently they're going to show something early here. So let's see. It's been a crazy day for gaming news. You know, we had like the 4090 launch today. I see some content creators talking about the next Assassin's Creed. So we got a lot of gaming stuff to talk about today. I don't know, maybe I'll do a video later on some of the Assassin's Creed stuff in the 5090 reviews. I'm not quite sure, but let's see what this mystery game is. I guess they're going to show it at the end. I am interested to see Doom. I did see a sneak peek of it running on an RTX 5090 with path tracing, and it looked absolutely incredible. You guys let me know if the volume is okay, if I need to increase the volume for you guys. Team Ninja. Wait a second. Is this a surprise game? I'm not sure.
今日は皆様にジム忍者が長く大切にしてきたアクションシリーズの新情報を発表できる機会をいただけてとても嬉しく思います。早速ですがこちらをご覧ください。
I guess so. I guess they're starting off.
Several years ago, the Dark Dragon, youngest of the divine dragon gods, wreaked havoc across the world. The plot was ultimately thwarted through the efforts of a sole ninja. However, the Dark Dragon's husk remained, and from this husk fell an endless downpour of cursed rain. The abandoned Tokyo continues its struggle against chaos to this day.
Infiltrated the facility. Commencing mission. No escape.
Is Ninja Gaiden? I'm confused. What's going on here?
Hayabusa.
Whatever your clan is plotting, it ends here. So you've come, Raven.
Fuck off, Hayabusa. I will execute my mission.
Yep, Ninja Gaiden. That's huge. That's huge. Ninja Gaiden 4. That's a big announcement, guys. That's a big announcement.
容赦なく襲い来る敵に挑むハイスピードアクション忍者ガイデンのナンバリング最新作として忍者ガイデン4を発表させていただきました。本作はプラチナゲームズさんとの協業で開発を進めています。プラチナゲームズさんのアクションゲームというジャンルにおける実績は言うまでもなく、ベヨネッタやニアオートマタなど素晴らしいアクションタイトルを生み出してこられました。忍者ガイデン4というタイトルを10年以上の時を超えて新たに皆様にお届けするにあたり、より多くの方に新鮮な気持ちでプレイしていただけるよう、新たな世界を新主人公であるもう一人の町人ヤクモで冒険するという形で制作することにしました。先ほどご覧いただいた映像の中で竜ハヤブサも登場しておりましたが、彼は今回も物語に密接に関わってきます。なぜヤクモと戦うことになったのか、竜ハヤブサが戦う目的は何なのか、本作の物語の中で展開していきます。
任務は必ず成し遂げる。邪魔をするな。
物語は黒竜がもたらした正気の雨によって荒廃した首都東京が舞台となっています。この雨は黒竜がまだ生きている証であり、雨が止まない限り東京に安寧は訪れません。今作の新主人公であり、ハヤブサと対をなすカラス一門に所属するヤクモが首都東京で黒竜を倒し、この世界を晴らすため戦いに身を投じます。
Not gonna lie to you guys, this looks good, man. This looks good. Clearly, it's gonna be a Game Pass day one, so this is a win-win.
呪いやより混沌とした景観のデザインを取り入れています。ステージプレイ中に街が呪いの影響を受け、ビルは崩れ、道は歪み、ヤクモをピンチに陥れることでしょう。舞台となる東京はとある出来事によって街全体が崩壊し、魔族やヤクモと敵対する勢力がひしめき合う状態になっており、環境全体がプレイヤーに牙を向くように感じられるはずです。前作より立体的に自由度の増した危険に満ちたステージを、忍具やシリーズおなじみの体術など忍者アクションを駆使して乗り越えていくことになります。レールアクション、スイングアクションなどのダイナミックで爽快なシチュエーションを多く追加しました。これら以外にも様々なシチュエーションやチャレンジ、隠されたアイテムなどを用意しており、ステージが進むごとに上がっていくテンションにも驚いていただけると思います。
新しい主人公のヤクモは竜ハヤブサに次ぐ新たな町人です。彼にはまだ若さも残っていますが、カラス一門を背負う天才忍者でもあり、忍者ガイデンシリーズにおける忍者の頂点、竜と肩を並べる次世代の町人たり得る人物としてデザインしています。そんなヤクモの前に立ちふさがるのは荒れ果てた東京の治安維持組織であり、黒竜の封印を守る。
Well, it has subtitles, so I'll just talk over this part here. Usually, they don't talk in these videos. But I just want to say this. I don't know if this game is going to be exclusive, because I could see Ninja Gaiden being a game that they put on PlayStation, because obviously it would sell crazy. You know, I don't know what to think of this. I guess we'll find out. But nonetheless, it's still a great announcement. It's going to be in Game Pass day and date, obviously. I think the last game was like 10 years ago, man. And if you guys have ever played the original Ninja Gaiden games, they are hard as heck, man. So I'm expecting great things from this title here, man. And from what I've seen so far, graphically, it looks incredible. The gameplay looks pretty good. Of course, we need to see more and obviously play the game, but my first initial impression of this game is it's good. So I'll say that this Developer Direct is off to a good start. Okay, I'll shut up now.
もちろん1対1の戦闘におけるひりつきも健在です。プレイヤー同様、敵もガードや回避をしてくるため、緊張感のあるフェアな戦闘を味わうことができます。敵の動きをしっかりと捉えながら、一瞬の隙を逃さずに攻撃を仕掛けていくことが重要です。ヌエの方によって忍者ガイデンのアクションの味わいにさらなる進化を感じられるかと思います。
特にアクションに関しては手触り、バランス調整など細部にわたり日々議論させていただき、会社の垣根を越えた密なやり取りをさせていただいています。本作の主人公であるヤクモは竜とは一味違うアクションを有していますが、その中でもしっかりと忍者ガイデンらしさを感じていただけると思います。例えばカラス、ヌエ、2つの型があるという点がヤクモの大きな特徴ですが、それらが持つ多彩な性能のアクションを用いて敵や状況ごとに使い分ける攻略の深みや、滅却、絶技などを絡めた抑揚あるスピーディーな攻防などはもちろんヤクモでも健在です。
ヤクモと竜ハヤブサはそれぞれがかなり異なる個性的な遊び心地になっていますので、さまざまな戦闘バリエーションを楽しむことができるようになっています。ヤクモ、そして竜ハヤブサの双方で飛燕、伊豆直落としなどシリーズおなじみのアクションも駆使しつつ、新アクションを織り交ぜた新しい忍者ガイデンにご期待ください。忍者ガイデンシリーズに色濃く残っている歯ごたえやグレードの高いアクション体験の継承、さらに我々プラチナゲームズの特徴であるスピーディーなアクションやダイナミックな演出も取り入れ、進化した正当続編を作り上げるべく総力を挙げて開発を進めております。
容赦ない敵とのいかなる攻防にもフェアに戦える手触りをヤクモでも目指しています。皆様に進化した忍者ガイデンを触っていただける日を楽しみにしています。
シリーズファンはもちろんのこと、忍者ガイデンを初めてプレイする方でも存分に楽しめる作品になっておりますので、ぜひ発売をお待ちください。
長年にわたってプラチナゲームズさんと共にまさに忍者のように潜んで
It's pretty crazy that they teamed up with Platinum Games, man.
ついに発表することができて非常に
I
嬉
don't
しく
know.
思いま
Them
す。
teaming up with Platinum
2025年
Games
秋に本作を
kind of
皆さん
tells
に
me
お届け
that
できるのを
this
楽しみにしています。
is going to be on
そ
all
こにもぜひ
platforms.
ご期待ください。
If I had to guess, this is going to be on all platforms. I just, yeah. Yep, there we go. There we go. I was right. I was right. I was
さ
right.
て本日お伝えしたい発表は
It's going to be on everything.
こちらをご覧ください。
It's going to be on everything. And everybody yells at me saying, oh, not all Xbox exclusives are going to PlayStation. Right there. It's going to be on everything. Not gonna lie, this looks incredible though. And if you guys are new to the series, it is hard. Because like the last entry was like 10 years ago. This franchise has been going on for a while, and some of you guys are probably just new into the Xbox ecosystem or new into gaming. And I'm telling you, this game is fantastic gameplay, but it's going to be hard. Just be prepared for that.
Ninja Gaiden 2のオリジナル版は2008年に Xbox 360で発売し、
Wait a second, are they redoing Ninja Gaiden 2 for Xbox? Is that what we're seeing here?
Ninja Gaiden 2 Black ではオリジナル版の表現に立ち戻り、
What's going on?
5を用いてグラフィックを大幅に刷新。Ninja Gaiden 2の完全
Oh
版として
wow,
開発
wow, they're redoing it in Unreal Engine 5. Ninja Gaiden 2. Oh, that is crazy.
もプレイブルキャラクターとして登場します。そして本作は本日
I think that's what he's saying here now, right? Yes. You can play it today. PC, Xbox Game Pass today. Ninja Gaiden 2 remade in Unreal Engine 5. Wow, I'm going to be downloading this today on my PC. That's insane. Wow. Hey, you know what? I always say give credit where credit is due, no matter how you feel about the corporation. And I'm going to say this is huge, that they're dropping this today. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, I guess remade, remastered, whatever, in Unreal Engine 5. That's pretty crazy. And Ninja Gaiden 4 is coming to Xbox Series X, S, PC, and PS5 later this year in the fall. But once again, this game is coming to PlayStation 5. It's not an Xbox exclusive, although you get it day one in Game Pass and Game Pass PC, which is great for the subscribers. You know what? I'll ease off on my comments on that. Let's just watch the rest of this. I don't want to piss everyone off, but you know, it is what it is.
Hi, and welcome to Compulsion Games here in Montreal, Canada. At our studio, we care about world building, and we treat the setting almost like a character of its own. From the magical noir of contrast to the alternate history of We Happy Few, we draw inspiration from the landscape to shape mood, drama, and intrigue. For South of Midnight, our third-person action-adventure game, the story and characters bring a folkloric Deep South to life. This gave us a chance to explore Southern Gothic themes with a dark fantasy twist. So while our protagonist Hazel is at the forefront of our story,
I am so looking forward to this game. It looks incredible. It really does.
It is really picking up out there. Did you pack everything?
Mama, this ain't my first hurricane. I know what to do.
As long as you didn't forget the
flashlights and batteries.
Oh, shoot, we got 5 minutes. Let's go.
We wouldn't be rushed if you didn't.
Don't mumble. Speak on it.
I said we wouldn't be rushed if you didn't.
Jimmy Harrison for the $5 says, whoa, now that's good. And I agree, man. And Ninja Gaiden 4 looks crazy, as well as Ninja Gaiden 2 Black being released today. Thanks for the super chat, buddy.
Hazel may start her journey as a typical 19-year-old, but disastrous events will push her into a darkly magical world where she'll learn who she really is and how to tap into weaving, an ancient magical power that redefines her trajectory in life. The land itself chooses Hazel as a weaver, someone who can see beyond the surface and tap into a deeper reality. The grand tapestry. Weavers can see the fabric binding our world, connecting people, nature, and echoes of the past.
Keep those hands to yourself.
Hazel can perceive both the mystical strands and stigmas in the world. Through her newfound power, she reweaves these stigmas and mends the afflicted creatures she encounters. As Hazel discovers her power, the world gradually shifts into the surreal, revealing that creatures from the old folktales actually exist.
You up here, my salvation.
Among them is good old Catfish, the storyteller who becomes both the guide and companion to Hazel across the game.
It ain't every day I hear about a new weaver such as yourself. Would you kindly do your weaver thing and help me down?
Meeting Catfish marks the true beginning of Hazel's journey. All of Hazel's arsenal and powers are designed around textile crafting and traditional spinning wheels. Her weapons include a spindle, 2 weaving hooks, and a distaff. Her magic abilities manifest with supernatural lace-like patterns, blending the traditional craft with mystical elements. Hazel engages with the world through a variety of movement abilities. Those abilities also help Hazel progress on a journey.
As her journey unfolds, Hazel will master new weaving abilities, using them to traverse the world, conjure objects, and confront adversaries.
Combat is about understanding and adapting to different enemy archetypes known as Haints, the manifestations of corruption Hazel encounters.
These Haints trap Hazel in combat until she unravels them, destroying them in the process.
Each Ain't has its own unique moveset, strengths, and weaknesses that you'll need to learn and adapt to. For example, the slug burrows on the ground and unleashes devastating strikes from afar, while the Ravager closes the distance with chilling speed. Hazel can counter these threats with agile melee abilities to execute powerful combos, jump attacks, and charge attacks. But close combat is risky and can backfire because Aints have powerful defensive abilities. Mastering your magical skills becomes the key to gaining the upper hand in combat. Push, pull, and weave are some of the spells at your disposal that give you a tactical advantage during a fight. Timing is everything. Pull distant enemies close to start melee combos, push them back to interrupt and stun their attack. Then press the advantage with follow-up strikes. Spells interact uniquely with each enemy type, creating dynamic combat scenarios, especially when facing multiple types of opponents at the same time. Once near death, enemies can be unraveled, breaking their core and setting them free of their corruption, which has the added benefit of providing health boosts and reducing ability cooldowns. If you play your combos right, you can enhance Hazel's combat readiness and keep on chaining her abilities. As Hazel progresses in the game, she unlocks new moves and improved abilities, and you'll have to decide which areas to prioritize. The upgrades will change how you approach combat, like enhancing area effect attacks, or refining push and pull skills to improve precision and make them feel more rewarding. The combat system is fast and responsive, built around chaining attacks, landing precise strikes, and unraveling enemies.
You mind if I take a look around?
You can see every place old Molly terrorized and more. Now for the low, low price of $1.
In Hazel's search for her mother, you'll explore multiple regions, each ruled by a mythical creature with their own Southern Gothic
I'm not gonna
history.
lie, the art direction is
the backstories of these
fantastic.
beings,
I really
once
love the way
human
it
or
looks.
animal, who were transformed by tragedy, their secrets waiting to be discovered. As a weaver, Hazel heals these creatures by collecting fragments of haunted memories. We call these echoes, which reveal each creature's past. Hazel must experience these echoes before she can mend them.
What kind of person would do that to someone?
We design each region to reflect the creature that's been doomed to wander it. From the atmospheric environment to unique music themes composed for each one. While not all encounters lead to direct combat, Hazel will need to face mythical creatures in epic confrontation before she can heal them. Our boss encounters and gameplay sequences also reflects the uniqueness of each creature, with distinct mechanics that center around a specific thematic. These encounters feature multiple phases that ramp up in complexity. As the encounters progress, the musical theme builds up, cranking the tension alongside the fight. Whether it's Two-Toed Tom or hugging Molly, each of these larger-than-life creatures is inspired by Southern folklore and lead to climactic battles.
We got a long journey ahead.
South of Midnight unfolds as a hero's journey, and as Hazel, you'll travel through a tapestry of Southern-inspired landscapes. From abysmal swamps to flooded farmlands to the Appalachian peaks. In our magical South, decaying buildings reclaimed by nature stand moments away from a hungry Rougarou. And as Hazel delves deeper, reality bends ever more toward the fantastical.
The history, landscape, and folklore of the American Deep South fill our world, and our team has infused the game with thoughtful details and environmental storytelling, like our bottle trees and haint blue porches, which are said to ward off evil spirits. The weight of the past emerges as central themes, which you can see through old abandoned buildings and businesses struggling to survive. As you explore, you'll meet locals who stayed behind even in the face of a hurricane.
So I'm the last person left here. All those damn haints. This part of the river's filthy with them.
Artistically, we're staying true to our moody compulsion signature style. But this time, we're using a handcrafted approach inspired by stop-motion animation, which allows our team to bring a distinct personality and tone into every prop and character. Because this folklore is open to visual interpretation, We embrace the freedom to reimagine these creatures and their stories, to adapt how they look, and to craft our own version of a fantastical Deep South.
At Compulsion Games, we love to craft around central themes. We're lucky to have talent across all our disciplines that collaborate to give South of Midnight such a unique personality. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into South of Midnight. We're thrilled to announce that the game will launch on April 8th, and pre-orders are now available on Xbox and Steam.
April 8th. There we go. Pre-orders are opening up now. I'll say this, for those of you out there that don't like the stop motion style of the game, you are able to turn that off in the settings. I did see that from some type of preview, that you are able to turn it off. So if that throws you off, you're able to turn it off and just have like normal smooth animations. Although I think that's part of the art design, so when I'm playing it personally, I'll probably try both, but I'll probably leave the stop motion animation on. All right, so we have our next title up here.
Bonjour everyone. We are Sunfall Interactive and welcome to our nano. We are a small studio based in Montpellier, France, working on our first game, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It's a turn-based RPG set in a fantasy version of late 19th century Belle Epoque France.
Here we are.
Our grand adventure in game development actually started as a solo passion project. I wanted to create something like the JRPGs with turn-based combat I grew up with and loved, but that fully leveraged the latest tech, refreshed the genre with new features, and took place in a compelling world. I knew I needed help to realize my dream. First, I turned to a programmer I knew would get it.
Guillaume and I started trading ideas right away, and that quickly turned into trading files back and forth. Soon, I was creating the first prototypes of the reactive turn-based system, combining real-time offense and defense element, and a cinematic battle camera system. Things really clicked when we tested the first version of those features. We felt we had something both challenging and fun.
As Tom and I went back and forth and iterated on game elements, a vision started to come together, and I shared it with an old friend from university.
Guillaume and I are both passionate gamers, and when he described the project, I quit my job the following week and joined the team without hesitation. Because I believe that in video games, success always starts with a strong creative vision. And we had that, defined by 3 core elements. A story with great emotional depth, gameplay that innovates on the classics we love, and a world that is completely original, beautiful, and immersive. We founded Sunfall Interactive on these tenets: a group of friends with a shared vision and the drive to make something great.
I'll say this, traditionally I don't like turn-based games, but this being in Game Pass will allow me to actually try it. I will say that graphically it does look good, the story looks pretty good, so it's very interesting.
And I spent 4 years intensively developing and refining ours, and that started with the hook. 67 years ago, a massive slumbering paintress and a monolith appeared with no warning. Once a year, the paintress wakes and paints a number on her monolith, and everyone who has passed that age is erased. Every year that number ticks down, and everyone dies younger and younger. Expeditions depart to kill the paintress, determined to fight until their final breath, but none have ever returned. Our story follows Expedition 33.
Not gonna lie, that dude looked older than 33.
Expeditioners, we honor your dedication.
Guillaume and I knew early on that we didn't want to focus on good versus evil. What's interesting to us are people who, yes, are flawed, but who care deeply about each other. And conflicts arise because they have different perspectives on what needs to be done.
I'm sorry about earlier.
We wanted our story to feel dark and mature, with adult characters who feel like real people with real experiences.
I'm always missing something that everyone else just gets.
The heart of the story is about overcoming an existential threat while struggling with loss and grief. And it's rooted in the characters' relationships, both to each other and to themselves.
What are we gonna do, huh? Tell me. What are we gonna do?
In a world like this, how does one stay hopeful or make peace with their fate? What duty do we owe to each other or to ourselves? These questions are deeply personal to me, and they permeate the story behind the story.
Know that Lumiere fights with you. Tomorrow comes Expedition 33.
The characters all have their own motivations and perspectives. Gustave and Lune are deeply invested in the expedition, even if they fight all the time. To them, the mission is tied not only to their family, it's central to their identity and purpose.
Protocol doesn't cover every contingency.
You
know that.
Contrast that with Ciel, whose darkest days have already happened.
What are the stars whispering to you? Actually, I'm the one whispering to them. It's something my dad and I used to do.
And Maëlle, who cares more about really living her life, not just living longer.
Gustave, are you real?
It's not all dark, though. Along the way, they meet various colorful NPCs and recruit Monoko, who is a friendly but kinda bloodthirsty philosopher and a fully playable character. He has a really cool battle mechanic where he can turn into the enemies he defeats.
What are you doing?
Just need the foot. Aha!
He's very, very old and has seen many expeditions come and go. He is a Jest Troll, which are a group of playful beings who view battle as a form of meditation. They're fun and sort of ridiculous. You'll meet Monoko and many other Jest Trolls across the game. Bonjour. And of course, there is Esquier, who is one of the oldest and lore-wise the most powerful creatures in the verse.
Esquier is that powerful?
He will be your mount and help you travel to secret corners of the world. And if you bring him back his special stones, you can unlock abilities for him to access new areas of the world and find exciting secrets.
I'm strong, but I'm not that strong.
Everyone has their own reason for joining the expedition, and each of them has their own story arc and resolution that we think players will really connect with.
In addition to a strong narrative, we had a clear vision for our own take on the genre's core gameplay. Our reactive turn-based system takes the traditional turn-based battle mechanic we love and adds real-time reaction, which gives combat greater intensity and dynamism. During enemy turns, you can negate all damage by dodging or parrying at the right time. But balancing turn-based with real-time mechanics took a long time to get right. During initial playtests, turn-based players often found the real-time elements too hard. Some of us are still traumatized by enemies from back then. We've done a lot of rebalancing since, and with a lot of iteration, we ultimately came up with a formula that we're proud of. Players who are good at real-time can take more risks, and others can counterbalance with items and strategies. A big part of that formula lies in the many ways you can customize your character. We spend a lot of time designing each character's unique mechanics and their custom skill trees. Our philosophy is making every type of playstyle viable so that everyone can have fun with how they play the game. Each character has a unique mechanic. Maëlle switches between stances which can ultimately boost defense or power. I personally like to make Maëlle the protector of the group, but I'm pretty much the only one at the studio who plays her that way. Most people play her as a glass cannon with Gustave's complementary skills. The characters can also equip hundreds of passive effects, which in our game are called Lumina. Every character has more than 20 unique skills in their skill tree and hundreds of passive effects they can gain through Lumina and weapons. So there are a ton of builds and playstyle to explore. Needless to say, we can't wait to see how you choose to play and what kinds of build you'll design that we probably never even imagined.
Our story is set in the French fantasy world, and I was really excited to design something unique. Every level has its own color and texture identity. For example, the Gestrel Village is an early area in the game where players can enjoy a fun break. We wanted something that feels chaotic, grungy, and toy-like. It's basically a bazaar. Everything's disorganized, chaos everywhere, huts are unsafe, built without much thought. It's a place where anyone could fight you at any point, which is pretty much what the Gestrels are like. The Gestural Village is hidden inside the ancient sanctuary. The ideas here were forest, labyrinth, and sentinels. I designed it as a vibrant place, like an old graveyard of Gestrals, or forgotten wooden toys in a box, with two main colors, red and white. I wanted to make it feel cozy, hidden from danger, with traps and labyrinths in case enemies get in. Same process with the characters. Minoko came in a single concept. I thought of a monkey-like body, white fur with a black and red flat mask.
Ladies, could I? Ow!
Definitely a Gestral.
For SK, we needed a cuddly companion to take us around the world. I thought instantly of a giant inflatable balloon and old Victorian pillows with many intricate motifs. We start with the core themes and ideas, and the visuals grow organically from there.
From the very start of the project, there was one thing that we absolutely wanted to bring back from older JRPGs. A feature we really loved, but is very rare these days. A completely 3D and navigable world map. Yes, we've got a world map. And it was a real challenge to create, both artistically and technically. And it ended up a lot bigger than we expected. You'll definitely need SK's help traveling around.
Here we go!
We're super happy with the result, though, as there's a lot of side paths and entire hidden levels. If you want to fight the toughest bosses of the game, you will have to explore. Good luck.
We've poured our hearts and souls into this game for the past 4 years. That's why we're delighted to announce that Expedition 33 launches on April 24th on Xbox Series X and S and is available day one with Xbox Game Pass. You can already wish the game and follow us for more info.
That's crazy, another April launch.
To invite you into the world of Expedition 33. We are a small,
Xbox got some games this year.
Debut game, and we can't wait for you
I
to
will be
discover
playing
our
them
story,
on
our
PC
world,
day
and our
and
take on the
date.
turn-based genre. On behalf of everyone at Sunfall, thank you for joining us. Tomorrow comes.
Demain viendra.
Tomorrow comes.
Demain viendra.
Demain viendra.
Tomorrow comes.
I will say this, man. Expedition 33, the graphics look incredible. So I'll say this. I'm going to give credit where it's due. Xbox is doing great with the graphics that I've seen so far this year. The only thing is maybe the gameplay, because I'm not into real-time turn-based games, but there's a huge market for that, and I know fans of that genre are probably going crazy for that game. So although it's not the bright spot for me gameplay-wise, I think graphically it looks amazing. The story looks good. The skill tree, like, you have so many options in there. So I think that's going to be a good game, and it comes out in April. Now we got Doom. Let's go.
A small team of game developers helped define and set a course for first-person shooters. A lot has changed since then, but our team is as passionate as ever. And the most important values at the core of our games, innovation, craftsmanship, and performance, remain a priority for us to this day.
And as you're about to see, those values are infused in every aspect of this latest installment in the legendary Doom franchise. It is an honor to work on this game, to carry on its tradition of creating all-out, groundbreaking levels of fun.
So now, we're excited to share with you a look at our most ambitious game yet. This is Doom: The Dark Ages.
That was so stupid I mouthed the words. In Doom: The Dark Ages, you will feel like the superweapon in the center of a medieval war against hell. Set in a cinematic sci-fi fantasy world full of locations to explore, powerful weapons to unlock, and enemies to conquer. This is a prequel to Doom 2016, and that's given us the opportunity to reimagine every aspect of this experience. So if you're new to the franchise, then Doom: The Dark Ages will be the perfect entry point into the series. And if you're a longtime fan, then you'll be proud to see, in a lot of ways, the feel of the game is really a return to form. So let's break it down.
That looks incredible.
The combat. In Doom Eternal, you felt like a fighter jet. In Doom: The Dark Ages, you'll be an iron tank. Heavy, strong, but still fast. A grounded combat system with an emphasis on power over the acrobatics of Doom Eternal. And a balance between enemy projectiles and player movement speed that makes strafing to aim viable again, just like in the classic Doom games. But it's not all about nostalgia. Innovation is the goal, always. And so for Doom the Dark Ages, it's an all-new world with new tools and new mechanics to master. Let me introduce you to the Shield Saw. Block. Throw. Parry. Deflect. All from one input. It's contextual, tons of depth on a single button press. You know, we want every Doom game to stand on its own as a unique experience. So in 2016, we asked you to run and gun. In Doom Eternal, it was jump and shoot. And in Doom the Dark Ages, you're gonna stand and fight. And the Shield Saw will give you the strength to go head-to-head with some of the biggest, baddest demons we've ever created at id. But that's not all, because if you're gonna stand and fight, then you gotta have something to follow up that opening parry with. How about an iron flail? Or maybe an electrified gauntlet? Or even a doom-spiked mace? That's right, we have 3 melee options that are part of a melee system. All on one input, complete with combos and upgrades, and it's totally awesome. And you can finish off the demons now with an all-new, unsynced, completely in the player's control glory kill system. From any angle, in and out, as you see fit. And it feels amazing. You'll feel unstoppable, smashing your way through the horde with total freedom. And that seems like a ton, but that's just 2 inputs. We got one more really important button that we haven't talked about yet. The trigger. That's right, we've saved the best for last. Doom has and always will be all about the guns, and Dark Ages has some of the most ridiculously powerful weapons that we've ever created. Mean. Ancient. Brutal torture machines, built to butcher, impale, and shred the minions of hell with. Only in Doom. That's the mission statement for the design of these never-before-seen, insanely fun-to-use tools of mayhem that only the Slayer has the power to wield. So let's take a look at some extended gameplay footage and see how these medieval mechanics synergize with the enemies and the environments to form the new combat loop for Doom the Dark Ages.
Under the hood, for the first time in an id game, we've made our combat more approachable and flexible than ever before, with a new difficulty system and sliders that will allow players to tune the speed and challenge of the game to whatever fits them best. You can slow things down or speed them up. It's a Doom for all Slayers.
And the gameplay doesn't end with just the Slayer. We finally have for you, you've been waiting for 2 games now, to get in and pilot your very own 30-story Atlan, which is a mech. It's the size of a building, it's powerful, and you can beat giant Titan-sized demons to death with your gauntleted fists. And if that wasn't enough, we also have for you your very own fire-breathing, Gatling gun-toting cybernetic dragon. Neither of these are one-and-done features either. They have a full suite of abilities and even mini-bosses. The spectacle is epic. The Power Fantasy is unlike anything we've made it in. And the combat systems behind these features are deep and tons of fun. And as cool as all that is, we know that fans of single-player action games expect more than just great combat to pull them through the experience. So we're excited to share with you not just the gunplay, but the world of Doom: The Dark Ages. Your hero's journey will take you to the far reaches of the Doom universe. Mysterious worlds from the Slayer's past, dark forests, dungeons, ancient hellscapes, battlefields, and worlds beyond. And through exploration, you'll be unlocking new abilities and godlike powers every step of the way. Now armed with your trusty shield saw, you're gonna cut, leap, and smash your way through environments full of secrets and treasures. There's always something new waiting to be discovered or destroyed. Now let's take a closer look at just one of the many missions you'll experience in Doom: The Dark Ages. In this level, you will meet the enemy at the gates and save a city from certain destruction. Explore the medieval battlefield outside the castle walls, seeking out targets and enemy formations along the way to engage with as you see fit, with any gun you choose. Explore what is the largest play space ever in a Doom game, discovering secret caves and dungeon-like mines in search of vital resources. You control the pace of the game, where you go, who you fight, and the objectives you pursue. It's a Doom sandbox full of war and riches. Once you've broken the enemy assault, head back to the main gates, because the battle isn't over yet. And the soundtrack to your epic adventures will be composed by the award-winning team at Finishing Move, providing you with a metal soundscape that's loaded with guitars, medieval vibes, and pure adrenaline. You'll feel like you're expanding the legend of the Slayer with every mission you complete. And speaking of that legend, the story of Doom: The Dark Ages, like everything else in the game, is big. It's a summer blockbuster event with everything on the line, and you are the star of the show. Your power is coveted by your enemies and withheld from your allies. With the Slayer imprisoned at the start of our story, the balance of power between good and evil is shifting, and time is running out. It's a new story and the perfect entry point for new players. It's easier to access now as we've taken the narrative out of the codex and into the cutscenes, featuring new characters, old allies, and powerful new villains. And for returning players, it leads directly into the Doom 2016 Slayer's Testaments. It's an action story worthy of the Slayer's legend.
We've got 10 years of making modern Doom games together, and we've done better with every game we've made.
The hope with all this, the goal, is to give players an experience that's as fun to play as it was to make, and make something that's good enough to become the best game id has ever made.
But that is for you to decide. When Doom: The Dark Ages releases,
it's coming out in May. Wow. I can't lie, it's a pretty good direct, man. The Ninja Gaiden came out of nowhere. Expedition 33 looks fantastic. South of Midnight, I'm excited for that. It's coming out in April. Same with Expedition. Doom in May. Ninja Gaiden in the fall.
You will feel like the super weapon in the center of a medieval war against hell.
I think the takeaway is here is that 2 of these games that were announced today are going to be coming to the PlayStation 5, and that is going to be Ninja Gaiden 4 as well as Doom. Expedition 33 looks fantastic graphically. Ninja Gaiden was a surprise, and then they dropped the surprise drop today. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, remade in Unreal Engine 5, is out today on Xbox Game Pass and PC. That was a surprise drop. Everything looked fantastic from the graphics, from a graphical standpoint, 100%. So the narrative used to always be that Xbox games didn't really look good, or they looked cartoony, or they looked childish, and I have to say that that narrative is dead now, because these games, they looked fantastic. Now, what remains still the same is, you know, these games coming to other platforms, which I feel is not good for the Xbox console, because it's not going to help with sales. Because if these games are coming out on other platforms, I'm going to pause it here. If these games are coming out on other platforms, actually, maybe I'll rewind it a little bit here. I'll put it to here. We'll put it here. If these games are coming out on other platforms, then what's the purpose of having an Xbox, right? But then you can also argue for Game Pass. So I think the biggest advantage for these games is if you have the Game Pass subscription, because you're going to have access to these day and date in your Game Pass service. So if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, you're going to have access to these games day and date. If you're an Xbox, if you're a PC Game Pass subscriber, you're going to have access to these games day and date. So it's a great value for those of us that are subscribed to the Game Pass service, for sure. But when you're in the business of selling consoles and you're putting, you know, exclusives on other platforms, it's going to hurt the sales of your console, for sure. But I don't want to concentrate too much on that today, because this is good news for Xbox fans and for Game Pass subscribers, because these games look fantastic. You know, South of Midnight is coming out in April. Expedition 33 is coming out in April. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, remade in Unreal Engine 5, is out today in Game Pass and Game Pass PC. And that is a pretty huge announcement. Doom is coming out. I think they said May it's coming out, Doom. And Ninja Gaiden 4 is coming out in the fall. And this is like the beginning of the year for Xbox here and for Game Pass games. And we already have, like, you know, some big games announced. And, you know, we're going to get some more announcements later on in the year. So I think it's going to be a fantastic year for Xbox games in general. I think it's going to be a fantastic year for Game Pass. How it correlates to the Xbox console sales, I don't think it's really going to move the needle that much. I hope it expands Game Pass, because I enjoy Game Pass. And, you know, whether or not you want to factor in my feelings for Xbox, I still think Game Pass is the best service in gaming. Now, whether or not it sells games and it's viable at the current subscription numbers that it has is another thing. And, you know, obviously Microsoft wants to increase their Game Pass subscription numbers. And I think that these games will increase it, but not to the level that they need it to be at. And that's why ultimately we're seeing, you know, some of these games on other platforms. You know, personally, you know, I don't want to get too much into it, but we have to be honest here. And even though it upsets some people, I have to always just be honest, right? I'm not happy that some of these games are going to be on other platforms, even though, you know, I'm playing a lot of games on the PlayStation 5 Pro, whatever. I still care about the core Xbox gamer and the ecosystem, and for them to have something that's special that they could call their own. And putting these games on other platforms, it just doesn't do that, right? So, you know, that aside, I thought what Microsoft showed today was fantastic. I'm looking forward to South of Midnight for sure. I'm going to be playing that day one on my PC. Expedition 33, I think it looks fantastic. Unfortunately, I'm not into these turn-based RPG games. So, you know, for me, I'll play it, but I don't know if it's a game that I'll continue to play, because traditionally I just don't like those type of games. But at the same time, every game is not for everybody, and I know there is a huge market and a huge fan base for these type of games. And looking at the skill tree and how many options you have and just the graphic fidelity of that game, I can just imagine that fans of that genre are excited, and they should be. Doom looked incredible. It looked insane. Now, I'd like to know what we saw today, if it was running on Xbox Series X, if it was running on PC. We know for sure it wasn't running on the Series S, and we'll just leave that alone. But I'd like to know what it was running on. If it was on Series X or we saw the PC versions, because it looked very clean. I'm going to assume that they're going to just be showing these games on PC. Aside from Expedition 33, that I could tell was running on the console, because it just did have some little aliasing things that I noticed. So I'm going to assume that that game was running on the console. And South of Midnight, I don't want to say that it's not running on the console, because from what I'm seeing, it could be running on the console. I just want some type of confirmation that it is running on the console. Now, Doom, oh, that game looks intense. And it's kind of going back to the traditional way that we are used to Doom. So I'm excited. Overall, I thought it was a good show. I'll probably go to the comment section now to see if you guys have any questions. Mandarin says, I'm acting like Xbox is in trouble. No, I'm not acting like Xbox is in trouble. I'm not saying they're in trouble. Everything that they showed today, I thought it looked really good. My point being is, if you are trying to sell more consoles and to get more people into your ecosystem, you have to have some type of exclusivity. Now, if I'm a PlayStation player and I'm looking at this direct, I'm saying, wow, South of Midnight looks good. But you know what? That's probably going to come to my PlayStation in 6 months. I'm looking at Doom. I'm saying, wow, that looks good. But that's coming to my PlayStation 5 Pro. It's going to run better than my Xbox Series X. So I'm not going to switch to an Xbox. You know, if I'm looking at Ninja Gaiden 2, I'm saying, wow, that's crazy. But it's coming to my PlayStation as well. Day and date. Awesome. Now, Ninja Gaiden 4, I think, is a huge announcement. And I think if that was exclusive to the Xbox platform, I think they'd actually move some consoles, because that franchise has a huge following. And it's been 10 years since we got a new Ninja Gaiden game. So by you making exclusive, gamers would just buy an Xbox for that game. I'm not saying all of them, but if you have a certain amount of exclusives on your platform, it makes your platform more viable than putting it on the competition that is winning in all the categories, putting your games there. It's less of a reason to own an Xbox. These are just the facts, man. You can deny it all you want. You can say I'm hating on Xbox all you want, but these are the facts. Now, if I was really, truly hating on Xbox, I'd be like, yeah, this is great. Yeah, screw. I'm not actually happy about this. I think that Xbox should have some exclusives. But I don't want to sit here and argue with you guys in the chat. You guys know my opinion on it. And it's not that I hate Xbox. I think the Xbox Series X is a fantastic console. The Series S, we'll leave that alone. My thoughts on that. I wish that Xbox had some type of counter to the PlayStation 5 Pro. They don't. So it's kind of bad optics when your own games are going to look and run better on the competition's platform. Now, we can make the argument that these games can be played on PC, but a PC is not a console, right? It's a different market. It's the entry point is a lot higher, right? And I have said this to Xbox gamers, like, if you truly care about playing the games, all of the Xbox games where they look and run the best, and just upgrade to a PC, and then you don't have to worry about all of this noise, because you're just going to have the best iteration of the Xbox games. Unfortunately, that's not a viable option for a lot of gamers, because PC is expensive. Have you seen the prices for, the 5070 Ti and the 5080 and the 5090? Although, you don't really need the 5090 unless you're gaming at 4K, so I don't really want to push that, oh, you need a 5090. But nonetheless, the graphic cards, the CPU, your power supply, your case, your RAM, your coolers, your storage, it all adds up to be a lot more than console. So, that's why they're always going to be separate markets. I think the console is a great entry point for gamers to play games at an affordable price. And, this generation is okay, apart from like the CPUs, the Xbox is still a good console. The PlayStation 5 is still a good console. Obviously, the PlayStation 5 Pro is pushing these boundaries further, extending it out until we get the next generation consoles. And it's a good viable option for those that, don't want to commit to to investing in PC and the price that incurs. The PlayStation 5 Pro is a good option. Now, I'm kind of going off the rails here. Now, let's just get back to today's presentation. So once again, Expedition 33, I thought it looked fantastic. I think the graphics are amazing. I think the story is really good too. I'm intrigued by the story. The only downside for me, and this is just for me, is the gameplay. I would like it to be like real time, right? Real time what's the turn-based is just not for me, right? I'll give it a shot, and maybe playing the game my opinion changes on this, but you know, it's just not for me. But I will say that out of these type of games, it does look unique and it does look pretty fluid. So we're just gonna have to see how it plays out. South of Midnight, from the first time that I saw this game, I was impressed with it. And I continue to be impressed with it. I think graphically, it looks amazing. I love the art style. The stop motion animation, I love it. And if that's something you don't love, you do have the option to turn that off in the game. The story, the lore, it looks pretty good for this game. It's going to be day one on PC. It's going to be day one on Xbox. Looks fantastic. Ninja Gaiden, man, what can I say? It's Ninja Gaiden, man. It's going to be hard. It's going to punish you. And I'm sure I got to go judge the climate of everyone on X and on the forums and on the internet, their thoughts on it. But I'm going to judge. I'm going to just go on a limb and say that they're really excited for this because it's been 10 years since we got a Ninja Gaiden game. And for those of you that are not familiar with the franchise, it was a huge franchise. It was a big game, right? So I'm excited for that. The part 2 dropping in Game Pass today. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black in Game Pass today. In PC and Xbox is a huge shadow drop. That is huge. And it's remastered or remade in Unreal Engine 5. That is fantastic. And Doom just looked absolutely insane. And on my X, I put up NVIDIA's showing of it. They showed it at some event, and they showed it running on a 5090 with path tracing. And with path tracing, that game just looks insane. I cannot wait to play that game on my hopefully I landed at launch an RTX 5090. If not, I have the 4090. Still gonna look fantastic on it with path tracing. So overall, I'm gonna wrap it up. Overall, I think it was a good show. The only downside was the turn-based mechanics of Expedition 33, and I would say Ninja Gaiden, you know, being on all platforms. That was the only downside I would say to the presentation. Now, if I have to rate it, I'm just gonna be honest here. I would give it, I want to give it an, you know what? I want to give it an 8, and I want to give it an 8 for me because of Expedition 33, and I'm just not into the turn-based games. Now, putting my little bias aside there and objectively looking at the presentation and the release dates of when these games are coming out, I would have to give this presentation an 8.5. It was well done. Everything looked good. I'm excited for these games. And as a Game Pass subscriber, this is a win-win. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate you guys rocking out with me. I'll just go into the chat here to see if there's anything in here. You said, let's just get into here. Mandarin said, oh, let me get out of this. Mandarin said, if my opinion, they would probably have to fire Phil Spencer if we ever were to get Xbox exclusives. Mandalorian, I got to be honest with you here. I don't think this is directly coming from Phil Spencer. I think this is coming from above him. So I think this is coming from Satya Nadella. And I think they want the return on their investment. You know, Satya Nadella gave Phil Spencer an open checkbook. He went and acquired all of these studios. Unfortunately, they're not selling enough consoles. Unfortunately, there's not enough subscribers in Game Pass for them to get their return quickly on their investment. So they have to release these games on other platforms to recoup. It kind of is what it is. So I don't want to just put this solely on Phil Spencer's shoulders. You know, I think this is coming from higher above him. Okay, so that was it. No Final Fantasy 16 or 7 news. I guess there's going to be another event to hear about it. Yeah, we've been hearing about that for quite some time. Like, we know those games are coming because, you know, Square Enix is not happy with the performance of their games just being on the PlayStation. You know, although they sold okay, like, that game needed to be multiplayer for sure. It needed to be on PC. It needed to be on Xbox. And them just locking that specific game down to PlayStation, it didn't make sense. And even if they locked it down to PlayStation, I wouldn't be so mad if it was like, you know, a 4-month exclusive or something like that, a 5-month exclusive. But they're locking down these games for like years. on the PlayStation, and that's definitely not a good look for Square Enix, right? Which is traditionally a third-party developer, right? They make their money off of releasing their games on everything, right? And I think in that instance, it just didn't make sense. And I also think in some instances, Xbox games do make sense to put them on other platforms. Notice how I didn't say anything about Doom being on other platforms, because Doom has traditionally been a third-party game that has made an appearance on everything. So for you to remove that specific game off of all the platforms and just put it on the Xbox, you would lose money, right? And so some of these studios that Microsoft bought, they are third-party developers for all platforms, and that's the structure of their company. So you can't just remove that, because now you're going to be losing money on the investment that you made. But some of the newer titles, right? They don't need to go to PlayStation because they don't have a new following, right? They haven't been on multiple platforms. And certain games, if you were just to release it on Xbox, you would have people invest in Xbox. Like Indiana Jones. I know a lot of people that were going to buy an Xbox for Indiana Jones. And once it was announced for PlayStation, they were like, oh, I'm cool. Especially with the PlayStation 5 Pro coming out. I know it's going to look and play better on it, so I'll just wait. Right? So sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. And the strategy that Microsoft has is pretty much all of their games are going to be on other platforms. Some of them day and date. Some of them are going to be like 6-month timed exclusive. Like South of Midnight. I don't expect that to be a full-fledged Xbox exclusive. I expect to see that on PlayStation, I would say in like 6 months. I think Microsoft is smarter than Sony in the sense where they're not going to keep their games that are going to go to other platforms too long away from those platforms, because the hype dies down for those games, and then of course the sales are going to die down, right? Like on PlayStation, like their first-party exclusives, honest to tell you, I think they should come in 6 months. I think 6-month window is good enough, and then release it on PC so you can make even more money. I would say like even up to a year. I'm not happy about a year. I would say 6 months, but like say even up to a year. But a lot of their games are like 1.5 years, 2 years, and then they make an appearance on PC. And in the beginning, it was fine because people were like, "Oh wow, Sony games on PC." But now people they're kind of over it, and they don't want to wait as long. Then this the freshness of PlayStation games on PC has worn off. And Sony has said this themselves, that they will be more aggressive releasing their games on PC. So I would also like Sony to release their games on PC 6 months, maximum a year after they're released on the console. So we're going to have to see where that happens. Now, for those out there saying, oh, they need to release their games on Xbox, that's not going to happen. Sony is not going to be releasing their games on Xbox. Like, it's just not going to happen, and it's never going to happen at the rate that Xbox is releasing their games on other platforms. So it kind of is what it is there. And, once again, I'm derailing. I don't want to go too far off because this was a good showing for Xbox. It was a good showing for these games that are going to be in Game Pass. And like I was saying, personally, I would give this show an 8, but I'm going to factor in that people love these RPG games. And for an RPG game, it looked fantastic. So overall, I have to give the show an 8.5. Anyways, you guys let me know what you think. I appreciate you guys rocking out with me. I appreciate you guys staying to the end and kind of hearing me rant. If you guys do like these type of videos, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know on X and I'll do more of them. Most of these events, I do live stream them anyways, but if you guys want to see more live stream on this channel, just let me know, because I actually don't do a lot of live streams on this channel. It's mostly, gaming related stories about tech and whatnot that I cover on the channel. But if you guys like this stuff, then maybe I'll start live streaming and playing games or whatever, if you guys want to see that. If you guys support it, then, I'll do it. Anyways, once again, thank you guys for rocking out with me. I appreciate you all. It was a great showing for Xbox today, and I'll see you guys on the next one.